Welcome to Mindful Musings, where you're invited to join in mindful reflections that encourage and deepen connections with self and others. Help build a culture of caring, create a life of purpose, and face challenging transitions in an atmosphere of unity. Today, we are using the Virtues Reflection cards with permission from virtuesmatter.com. A live link is provided in the description box below this video for information on purchasing the downloadable phone app and/or a physical deck of cards.
Courage. Courage transforms fear into determination. It is embracing life fully without holding back, doing what must be done, even when it is difficult or risky. When we are tempted to give up, courage supports us to take the next step. It allows us to face adversity with confidence. Courage opens us to new possibilities and gives us the strength to sacrifice for what we love. At times, we need courage to accept the truth and to pick ourselves up after a mistake, ready to make amends and try again. Courage gives me the spirit. Courage gives me the strength to make this journey with all my heart. Jalaluddin Rumi says, "Heart, be brave. If you cannot be brave, just go. Love's glory is not a small thing." The practice of courage. I reach beyond my comfort zone. I welcome new challenges. I do what I know is right, regardless of the costs. I face the truth with humility and openness. I don't allow my fears to hold me back. I fully accept life's invitations. I am thankful for the gift of courage. It allows me to spread my wings. So today, courage really speaks to me about having to dig deep when the complexities of life are rocking us in a storm, like tiny ships on a sea. And it occurs to me, Lynda Kavalin Popov in a workshop one time talked about the difference between letting go and trying to hang on to the shore or the rocks, clutching and resisting against the waves that are, doing whatever it can to take you through. And it's a really great metaphor for life. Sometimes we really, when life tries to shift us, we hang on. And often it's because of that comfort zone. And I'm speaking from the center of that right now. I'm in a situation in my life where this is what I'm doing. I am hanging on. And I feel like the current is, pulling, and I don't quite know how to let go. And in the letting go, you get swept away, but eventually the current softens and eventually becomes calm. I mean, that's just the nature of the flow. So for me, it's a lesson today, reminding me to let go and go into the flow. And I think the holding on is the comfort zone and the flow is the unknown. So there's a real distinction. And hopefully I can see a way to do that at this point in this tsunami. So Yeah. And I don't think this will ever be finished for me. Like this tsunami idea. Life is a constant state of ebb and flow, and so the holding on, I think, is the ebb also. But maybe it's another stage. Maybe the ebb and the holding on that I'm trying to describe here are two completely separate things. Don't know. But I have the courage to figure it out. Yeah. And I love the quote. If you cannot be brave, just go. And I do that a lot. I task my spirit to take over things that I don't have the courage to do, or that I might not have the strength to handle at that particular time. I invite spirit to take that task over. So I think that takes a lot of courage to that radical detachment, to trust the process. Yeah. That's me encouraged today. I have spoken.
And I have heard. Barbara, I really hear your deep, deep, deep faith in grace. And the discernment that holding on, clutching, grasping at may be founded in that being your comfort zone, and that the letting go is the unknown, and that could be why it takes so much courage to let go. And
thank you.
Yeah.
How is courage speaking to you today, Lynda?
Oh, well, it's interesting because what I'm looking at the card, and it's this big tidal wave, or big surf wave, and I'm thinking about being on the shore, the ocean shore, and how sometimes when those waves are coming in, and it's a red flag day, and basically they're saying don't go in the water, and with the red flags, and how often people ignore those red flags and go in anyway, and then how other people then end up often having to put themselves at risk to rescue the people who have jumped in. And how incredible it is that there are people in the world who will jump in, and that it's wise to have some kind of expertise before one chooses to be that one to jump in, or else two of you end up drowning. And on the other hand, while I'm standing on the shore looking like, oh no, two big waves for me to go in there today. I'm not the young lifeguard person that I once was. So it's like, okay. And yet, it may not quite be a red flag day yet. It might just be yellow flags. But how there's people out there surfing. They've got their surfboards and they're riding the waves, and they're having a wonderful time in the same waters that would toss me around and possibly injure me. I don't have the surfboard. I don't have the strength, the expertise to ride those particular waves. So it just, wonderful analogy, for the wisdom that it takes sometimes to know when to, what the next step is. It says when we're tempted to give up, courage supports us to take the next step. Well, there's wisdom to know which is the next step. you know, which adversities you can face with confidence. And then on the other side, it's I do what I know is right regardless of the costs. And I know that, you know, I've faced some challenges in my life, and it's there are people who would judge my letting go as being wrong, because, you know, I was a mom, I had kids, you should stay with your partner regardless. Well, I don't think that any of us can make those decisions for each other or judge each other, because I know that, you know, that there were incredible costs that I had to pay for a number of years, and I still am, you know. I let go, and I didn't get a lot of financial support for raising my boys on my own when I was on my own with them. And so that, you know, and I could have gone to court, I could have fought things and stuff, but I didn't, because I always felt that if it's not coming willingly, if it's not coming from an understanding of one's own understanding of one's responsibility towards one's children, then you know, the courts, and I used to hate it, hearing this, but you cannot legislate morality.
Yeah.
And I mean, it may, you know, the laws certainly do inspire some people to do, you know, to take care of their responsibilities, but not others. So again, I've really had to come and face the truth of non-judgment towards some of these things, my own actions and the actions of my partners, to face the truth with humility and openness, that we've, you know, we both had our challenges, different, and we faced them differently, and it's not my place to judge how they face their side of them, just as it's not their place to judge my side of them. And that's taken me a long time to come to that place, and it makes me think of the other card that we shared a couple of days ago on forgiveness. Come to that place of forgiveness, and you know, reach beyond my comfort zone with that, of what I think is right and correct, and be open to what is, and fully accept life's invitations. And I think it's to fully accept life's invitations, to accept what life brings me. Yeah. So, yeah, and to welcome new challenges as opposed to fight them all the way. Some challenges I embrace wholeheartedly, and other ones, not so much. So, yeah. And I've done a lot of picking myself up over the years. Instead of saying after making a mistakes, I keep saying that they're my Hollywood moments, and I get to do a retake. Anyway, so make amends and try again. That's how courage is speaking to me today.
Lynda, I'm really hearing, I think it's the generosity in what you're saying to yourself. As you were speaking, and until the very second I used the word generosity, I was really, you know, where you're coming from right now just feels like certitude to me. It's decisions, you know, that have brought you strength, and every time you make decisions that come from that learning, it's like you reinforce your certitude. But it's the generosity of what you were saying just there about retake, you know, your Hollywood moments, and being able to apply that retake. I love the creativity in that. And for what we are understanding now about neuroscience, it really makes sense. It really makes sense for our own healing to be able to reframe. And if this Hollywood moment retake strategy works for you, that's amazing. So I love the generosity of spirit that you bring to yourself.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for joining us in Mindful Musings today. We always welcome courteous and respectful feedback in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed spending time with us, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in joining us online, click the link to visit our site, synergyetc.ca.